Yo, what's up? It's your boy TPJ of Hoops and Brews, H&B Media. I am here live standing in Staples Center tonight after the Clippers defeat the San Antonio Spurs. Kawhi came through and tried to drop 40 on his old team. He was one basket shy, but he did drop 38. He was aggressive, extremely aggressive tonight, 30-plus shots. The team as a whole didn't play that well. I talked to Doc Rivers during the post-game press conference in regards to if the team is lacking a traditional point guard or if it's just more so about the shots not being fallen. Doc had his own opinions on it. Check that clip out right here. Coach, right here. Do you think that a lack of traditional, you all having a lack of a traditional point guard kind of contributes to that? Sometimes you all only had, I believe, 4 assists through the first 16 minutes of the game.
I don't know. Like, we're second in scoring in the league, or whatever we are, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever we are. But clearly having a point guard helps, there's no doubt about that. But overall, I think we've passed the ball well. I think the lack of assists was because guys couldn't make shots. A lot of those shots go in, we have a high assist number. So I thought the ball movement was actually pretty good. We just couldn't make a shot. So
we're standing here on Staples waiting for Kawhi Leonard to, give his press conference. I guess he likes to go and work out after the games. I'm standing here with my buddy Nick Hamilton. Kahari Jones, go ahead, talk to the people. Nick.
Hey, what's going on, man? It was a great game, man. It was a great revenge type of game. When you saw Kawhi Leonard, you circled this on the calendar when the schedule came out. You knew he was going to come to play, and you knew he had something to prove, even though it had been a year or so removed from being with San Antonio.
And Kahari, what did you think about today's game?
I thought tonight was a great game. Kawhi Leonard played really well.
Mm-hmm.
I like the presence of Patrick Beverley.
Mm-hmm.
The energy that he brought out tonight. He made a couple stops, got up, rattled a couple guys.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think about that? That little altercation in the war. Well, not really an altercation, just kind of a little scrum he had over there with DeMar DeRozan.
I think he knew that DeRozan possibly had something like a personal feeling with Kawhi, so he just wanted to kind of rattle up some more. That's what he does. That's what he do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I was talking to Pavy about it as we were texting. It just seems like Kawhi Leonard always makes it a point to come out and show everybody that there is a reason. There is a reason why I am the guy, and DeMar DeRozan is not the guy. Overall thoughts on the Spurs this season, kind of as they start out. I was actually able to talk to Coach Pop earlier, kind of doing the pregame presses about Bryn Forbes. He actually had a very bad night tonight. Didn't really shoot that well, didn't really play that well, didn't actually stay on the floor at the end of the game. What did you think about the Spurs, Nick?
Well, the Spurs are still trying to find themselves. I think it's still young in this season. They're trying to find their identity. We know what the identity of the Clippers is. We know their identity is defense. But what is the identity of the Spurs with DeMar DeRozan, with LaMarcus Aldridge, who was pretty much tamed for majority of the game by Ivica Zubac and then Montrezl Harrell. So I think the Spurs are trying to figure out what their game plan is. They got to come as a collective group. I saw different times in the game where they seemed like their heads were in the game. Sometimes their heads were out of the game. They didn't seem like they were a cohesive unit like we've seen in games prior. So that posed a problem. And then too, man, the defense of the Clippers is just nasty. When you have Patrick Beverley, you have Kawhi Leonard, who carried the team, as Lou Williams said tonight, up until the fourth quarter. The Spurs have got to do a much better job as far as not only spacing but ball movement as well, because it seemed like they did a pretty good job ball movement midway through the third quarter, and then they totally got away from it, and that's when the Clippers came on and they just took over the game, and that's what we saw tonight.
All right, Kari, what do you put the Clippers' struggles tonight in terms of shooting on? Do you put that more on the on their lack of not having a traditional point guard? Obviously, Pat Bev is really more so of a defensive stopper. Pavy was also texting me during the game and saying teams in the playoffs are going to basically load up the floor against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and make Pat Bev shoot. Landry Shamet hasn't been shooting that well. What are your thoughts?
I think they're really just trying to find a rhythm. I'm not really putting too much emphasis on, the guys not having a point guard, because I really, like Doc Rivers said, it's not really a point guard team anymore. They really don't use positions.
Yeah.
But I just think they're really trying to find their identity. I saw a slight bit of selfishness tonight. I feel like they should have moved the ball more. But other than that, I think the Clippers are going to be fine. Once they really find that rhythm, they get their full team together, I think they're going to be okay.
Perfect, yeah. And we actually saw Paul George tonight. He was on the sidelines as well as in the locker room. So, I do feel as though he's probably getting not necessarily like, 2 days away, 3 days away, 4 days away, but I do believe that we will be seeing him sometimes probably within the next couple weeks. I think that'll be very, very interesting. One of the other reporters actually, said that they believe that the Clippers will bring him back on a back-to-back, and on one of those nights sit Kawhi and then start Paul the other night, which I think is actually very, very interesting in terms of having how they will do that. Especially, I think you want to really kind of bring him in, his first time in Staples as, a member of Los Angeles, and actually a member of the community, kind of giving him his own spotlight, because we already know, when Kawhi is here, the fans go crazy for him. I see Kawhi Leonard jerseys all over. So what are your expectations for Paul George and kind of how things are going to shape out over the next, 2-3 weeks?
Well, when I look at what Doc Rivers is going to plan as well as Sam Cassell and Tyronn Lue, they're probably going to work him back in, because remember, Paul George hasn't played basketball in a game in a very long time, so you got to play himself back into basketball shape. So I expect Doc Rivers to possibly put him on a minutes restriction, so to speak, as far as to see where his level and then where his energy level is going to be, because that's going to be very crucial, especially in the fourth quarter when you play games like you did tonight against the San Antonio Spurs, and then on Wednesday night against the Utah Jazz when they got blown out. Yeah. You're going to need those type of minutes, especially in the fourth quarter. So you're probably going to see some spacing as far as minutes go with Paul George, see how he does, how he responds after a quarter by quarter by quarter, and then you're going to take it on, game by game, and then we'll see maybe 5 to 10 game assessment. You'll see exactly where Paul George is going to be, and then, like you said earlier, you'll be able to go on those back-to-backs and have Kawhi take a night off, and then have Paul George take a night off, and then you see them play together, as the season progresses. So it's going to be very, very interesting, but it's a great problem to have if you're the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's be clear about that. It's a great problem to have when you got two of the best top 5 or top 10 players in the NBA playing on your team alongside Patrick Beverley, who's a defensive nightmare. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this season to see how it plays out.
All right, 2 more quick questions. My question for you is, obviously the Clippers lost to the Jazz on the first night of this back-to-back. The Jazz won, but Kawhi didn't play. Kawhi most likely will play Sunday. Who do you think wins the game on Sunday, and why?
Oh, absolutely. I think the Clippers win, absolutely. I don't just because they didn't have Kawhi the first night, the energy wasn't there. They almost really won, if you really think about it, but the Jazz kind of just took off with the game. They didn't really have that much scoring. But I think that the Clippers will be back in full effect when they play the Jazz on Sunday.
Okay, and last quick question. Guys have gotten off to a hot start this season. Kyrie Irving, Karl Anthony Towns, all of the other kind of usual, faces that we see in the NBA, including Anthony Davis, who dropped 40 and 20 the other night, which was absolutely insane. But night after night, I feel like Kawhi has shown me that he is the best player in the NBA currently at this point in time. Do you agree, Nick?
Oh, absolutely. And now that Kevin Durant is going to be out for the year, my next choice is Kawhi Leonard. My concern about Kawhi Leonard is the minutes, because you don't want to play him too many minutes and have to always carry the team and bail this team out so early in the season, because if you expect to make a long playoff run into the Western Conference Finals and possibly the NBA Finals, you got to start looking at his minutes now. I know a lot of people may say, well, look, it's only the 5th or 6th game.
I've heard that a lot. I've heard that a lot.
But you got to understand, this is Kawhi Leonard. We got to understand he came here on load management. I may not be the same load management that we saw in Toronto or San Antonio, but if you kind of get a long stretch and it's a long, grueling season, as we all know. So you got to be able to start watching those minutes. And I think once Paul George comes to play, I think you're going to be able to see those minutes kind of be dialed back. But all in all, regardless of the minutes, this guy's the best, not only the best two-way player in the game, but the best player in the game as of right now this season, until otherwise.
Do you agree?
Absolutely. Hands down, I think Kawhi's the best player in the game. With the addition of PG, it's only going to enhance his game and allow him to be the best player he can be. I think Paul George is going to be a leading scorer of the team, but Kawhi Leonard is going to be a leader of this team.
That's interesting. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead, get out of here. We're going to try to attend Kawhi Leonard's press conference if it happens before 12 a.m. That's a joke. But anyways, this is a great game. Great win for the Clippers. They needed this win to bounce back. I definitely didn't think that they wanted to kind of head into the weekend kind of with 2 straight losses and being 3-3, especially kind of with the tomorrow being Friday. The media circus is definitely going to swirl around if they get off to a very slow start. So I do think that this was a game that they did need to win. It wasn't a must win, but it was a game that they did need to win just for confidence sake. You definitely don't want to go up against a team like the Jazz, which everybody's telling me is going to be a top 2, top 3, top 4 team. I currently don't believe it. I think that I really don't. I think if Steph Curry didn't get hurt, and I also think if Zion didn't get hurt, I think that the Pelicans would have gotten off to a better start. And I was looking at more of younger teams and younger guys, including the Mavericks and stuff, to get off to a better start. So anyways, it's your boy TPJ of Hoops and Brews, H&B Media. I will get up with you all next time on my post-game report. Go ahead, guys, get your plug in.
Find me at Motivated Purpose Network. Kahari Jones Jr. on all social media platforms.
All right.
You can follow me on all social media platforms at Nick Hamilton LA and at Nightfall Media. That's NITEFALLMEDIA.
All right, fans, and also I will have a brand new episode of the new show in LA coming for you all. As of Monday or Tuesday, we do plan on covering, Sunday's game versus the Utah Jazz. So I will get up with you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, you like, and you also go and you subscribe to our Patreon page, patreon.com/HNB. We appreciate it. I will see you later.